I'm ja- Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the Scramble for Africa. We are going to see the introduction for the Scramble for Africa. The overview of the Scramble for Africa. The Scramble for Africa occurred between 1881 and 1914, was a period of rapid colonization and annexation of African territory by European powers. It was marked by there was Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. European nations met to set rules for colonizing Africa, aiming to avoid conflict among themselves. No African representatives were present. European powers involved major players included Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Portugal, and Italy. Each sought to expand their influence and control over African resources and strategic location. Economic motivation. The quest for natural resources such as rubber, gold, and diamonds. New markets for European goods and investment opportunities drove much of the colonization. Strategic interests. Control of key geographic areas such as the Suez Canal and securing maritime routes were significant factors. The Scramble for Africa fundamentally reshaped the content, leaving lasting impacts that are still felt today. We are going to learn again about the definition of the Scramble for Africa. The Scramble for Africa refers to the rapid invasion, colonization, and partitioning of African territory by European powers during late 19th century, particularly between 1884 and 1914. Significance for the Scramble for Africa includes geopolitical changes. The Scramble for Africa drastically altered the political landscape of the continent. European powers drew arbitrary borders, often disregarding existing ethnic, cultural, and political divisions, which led to lasting political fragmentation and conflicts. Economic exploitation. Colonization facilitated the extraction of Africa's vast natural resources for the benefit of European economies. This exploitation included minerals, agricultural products, and the raw materials, contributing significantly to the economic development of European countries while often impoverishing local population. Cultural and social impact. European colonization imposed new cultural, social, and political systems on African societies. Traditional structures were often dismantled and new languages, religion, and customs were introduced. This had profound effects on African identities and social structures. Resistance and nationalism. The colonization process sparked various forms of resistance among African communities. The struggle against colonial rule eventually contributed to the rise of nationalist movements which fought for independence throughout the 20th century. So now we are going to learn about the reasons for the Scramble for Africa. The first one was imperial rivalry and competition between European powers. So European nations like Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Portugal, and Spain excuse me, raced to capture African territory to expand their empires. This was fueled by 19th century nationalism and the desire to increase power and prestige. The second one was desire for resources and markets. The Industrial Revolution created demand for raw materials and new markets in Europe. Africa had abundant natural resources like oil, ivory, rubber, palm oil, wood, cotton, and gum. Christianity, missionary activity. European Christians sought to spread the religion, and civilized Africans. Missionaries often accompanied early explorers into the African interior. Technological innovation. Advances in transportation, communication, and medicine enabled deeper penetration into African steamships, railro- railroads, telegraph lines, and quinine as a malaria treatment facilitated colonization. And also, the fifth one was ending the slave trade. Britain had success halting the slave trade on the African coast but not inland. European powers sought to replace the slave trade with legitimate commerce like cash crops. Another subtopic we are going to learn about the effects for the scramble for Africa. The first one is some traditional political institutions were destroyed and replaced with foreign ones. The second one, it led to the political and social instability such that European powers drew borders with little regard for existing ethnic or tribal affiliations. This often divided ethnic groups across multiple countries, sowing seeds for further conflict. These artificial borders also created some very large and diverse countries, making it difficult for government to effectively manage them. Economic underdevelopment. European colonization focused on extracting resources like minerals and cash crops for export. This often led to the neglect of developing local infrastructures and industries, hindering long-term economic growth. The fourth one, loss of cultural identity. Colonial powers often imposed their languages, religions, and education system on African societies. This led to the erosion of traditional cultures and identities. The fifth one is introduction of infrastructure. The colonial period also saw the introduction of some infrastructural projects like railways and roads, which continue to be used today. Modernization. Some some urge that colonialism also introduced aspects of modernization such as new technologies and healthcare practices. That's the end of our class. We meet in the next class. Enjoy your day.